The Cyclist, by Erik Røde, 1755. Read by Sally Ronstadt. Continued.
Chapter 6, Tragedy. Scene 27. The Ride for Life and Against Time. Carlo, just a young man of 16 or 17, found himself in the grip of a relentless rainstorm on a fateful night. The news he received was dire. His beloved aunt, a cherished member of their family, lay gravely ill, and the nearest town with a doctor was a treacherous 20 miles away. It was a matter of life or death, and time was slipping away with each passing moment. The rain poured like tears from the heavens, drenching Carlo to the bone as he stood in front of his family's cottage. His aunt's life hung in the balance, and Carlo's heart pounded with anxiety. With a determined yet trembling hand, he reached for his trusty bicycle, a loyal companion that had carried him through countless adventures but never one as critical as this. He swung his leg over the saddle, the cold, wet leather beneath him, and his fingers clenched the handlebars with a white-knuckled grip. The road ahead was obscured by shadows, the only light coming from the faint glimmer of his bicycle's headlamp. Carlo knew he had to pedal through this tempest. Each stroke of the pedals was a battle against the elements. Rain stung his face, making it difficult to see. The wind howled, as if trying to push him back, but Carlo's resolve was unshakable. With every drop of rain that soaked him, he felt a drop of determination filling his veins. The journey was a relentless ordeal, his path illuminated solely by the feeble beam of his bicycle's lamp. The road was treacherous, filled with slippery mud and unseen obstacles. More than once, his tires skidded dangerously close to the edge, threatening to send him tumbling into the abyss. Through it all, Carlo pressed on. His breath came in ragged gasps, the effort of his ride taking a toll on his young body. But he thought of his aunt, her weakening condition, and her desperate need for medical attention. These thoughts spurred him forward, no matter how harsh the elements became. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Carlo arrived in the small town where the doctor resided. He was drenched, shivering from the cold, and his muscles ached from the relentless pedaling. The doctor, alarmed by Carlo's urgency and soaked appearance, didn't waste a moment. Carlo's voice trembled as he spoke to the physician, his words choked with anxiety, and said, "Please, you must come with me. My aunt's life depends on it." The doctor, recognizing the gravity of the situation, grabbed his medical bag and rushed to accompany Carlo back into the storm. Carlo, with a quick burst of energy, lifted the bike and placed it in the car's trunk. The return journey was no less perilous, but now Carlo had a companion. The doctor's car sped swiftly towards the main road, its headlights cutting through the darkness and rain like a beacon of hope, as his aunt's fate hung in the balance. When they finally reached the cottage, it was a scene of profound relief and gratitude. Carlo's aunt, though weakened, was under the care of the doctor. The night had been long, the journey perilous, but Carlo's unwavering determination and the doctor's swift action had made all the difference. As his family and neighbors gathered around, Carlo's aunt weakly whispered her gratitude. Her frail voice, barely audible above the rain outside, carried the weight of a life saved by Carlo's bravery. Scene 28. Becoming the dependable one and the stolen bicycle. News of Carlo's heroic journey spread like wildfire through the village, and as he stood there, drenched and exhausted, he became a symbol of hope and dependability. In a time devoid of modern communication, Carlo's intuition and swift action had emerged as the lifeline that held the community together. The years passed, and Carlo continued to serve as the village's protector, rotating among family homes every few weeks. He awaited the call to duty, ready to brave the elements and pedal through the night to bring aid to those in distress. With each journey, Carlo's cycling skills transformed from a personal passion into a lifeline that connected him deeply with the heartbeat of his community. And his story, the tale of that fateful, life-saving ride, became a cherished legend in the village, an indication to the power of determination and love in the face of adversity. Carlo's life had been marked by heroic rides, but on this fateful night, the script was cruelly rewritten. His grandfather's health hung in the balance, and when Carlo needed his trusted bicycle the most, he discovered it had been stolen. The world seemed to conspire against him, leaving him with no choice but to embark on a daunting journey of 20 to 25 miles to reach the doctor's aid. It was a race against time, and the weather, as if reflecting Carlo's turmoil, was unforgiving, drenching the night in rain. As Carlo's feet hit the wet ground, determination coursed through him. Each step was a tribute to his beloved grandfather, a manifestation of the deep love and respect he held for his family. Rain battered his face, the cold seeped into his bones, but he pressed on. Every gasp for breath echoed his fear of losing his grandfather, his devotion to the man who had been a pillar of strength in his life, and his fierce desire to defy the odds. The night stretched on endlessly, each passing moment heavy with the knowledge that time was slipping away. Carlo's heart raced, his mind a chaotic whirlwind of emotions. Fear that he wouldn't make it in time, devotion driving him forward, and the overwhelming desire to reach his grandfather's side before it was too late. His legs ached, his clothes clung to his body like a second skin, and the rain-soaked road seemed to go on forever. Carlo's willpower was his only companion in the darkness. Scene 29. A tragic farewell. But despite his Herculean efforts, when Carlo finally arrived home with the doctor, he was met with a scene that shattered his heart. His grandfather's life was slipping away, the room steeped in a heavy silence. The old man lay there, eyes closed, his breathing shallow. Carlo had come too late, and the crushing realization fell upon him like a relentless weight. Carlo's legs, which had carried him tirelessly through the night, now felt weak. He fell to his knees by his grandfather's side, his voice choked with sorrow. Then he said, "Nonno, I'm so sorry," he whispered, tears mingling with rain on his cheeks. He added, I tried so hard." His grandfather's eyes fluttered open for a brief moment, and he mustered a faint smile, as if to comfort his grieving grandson. He reached out, and Carlo took his hand, holding it with a tenderness that spoke of the deep bond between them. In the midst of this heart-wrenching moment, Carlo's gaze fell upon the empty space where his stolen bicycle should have been. It stood as a silent witness to his grandfather's final moments, a symbol of opportunities lost, and a cruel twist of fate that had robbed him of the means to reach his beloved Nonno in time. As Carlo clung to his grandfather's hand, he knew that the stolen bicycle would forever carry the weight of his grief and the memory of that night when he couldn't save the person who meant the world to him. It was a profound reminder that life's moments, like a stolen bicycle in the night, could vanish without warning, leaving behind only regrets and the relentless ache of what could have been. Scene 30. Consequences for the village. The stolen bicycle incident was more than just a theft. It was a seismic event that reverberated through the village, shaking the foundations of their daily existence. Carlo's pain was not his alone. It was shared by every villager who had ever been touched by his warmth, generosity, and unwavering support. Inexplicably and hard to comprehend, the stolen bike incident became intertwined with the villagers' perception of Americans. Perhaps it was because a few months earlier, in a nearby village, an Italian boy had come to visit from America. This boy had engaged in some mischief, including stealing a bike from a neighboring village. When his uncle discovered what had happened, he immediately returned the boy to his sister in America. The rumor mill suggested that America had bad influences over this boy. It was as though the story of the stolen bicycle had become a symbol of mistrust toward outsiders, particularly those from America. The incident had left scars on the collective consciousness of the villagers, scars that would take time to heal. One evening, as the village gathered around a bonfire, the wisest among them, Nonna Maria, took center stage. Her voice, a soothing balm, carried the weight of years of wisdom. She spoke of Carlo's stolen bicycle, her eyes shimmering like stars in the firelight. Carlo's pain, my dear friends, is a mirror of our shared humanity, she began, her words settling like a comforting embrace. She added, in our unity lies our strength, and in our shared joys and sorrows, we find our true purpose. Carlo's dedication to being the village's protector deepened. With no modern means of communication, the village relied on his instincts and bravery in times of crisis. He had become their beacon of hope, their guardian angel. On one such occasion, a young villager named Ponti rushed to him, her eyes filled with fear and desperation. Carlo, my mother is sick, she implored. Please, you must help us. Carlo nodded, his expression mirroring her concern. "Don't worry, Ponti. I'll fetch the doctor," he reassured her. As he turned to leave, a strange sensation washed over him, like a flicker of recognition. He dismissed it, attributing it to the urgency of the situation. Unbeknownst to Carlo, that momentary sensation of deep connection lingered in the recesses of his heart, like a whisper from fate. Ponti, being several years younger, was a face he had seen often in the village, a friendly presence. Yet, there was something in that moment, a spark, an unspoken understanding that defied explanation. Carlo's aversion to Americans, rooted in the stolen bicycle incident and the subsequent tragedy, cast a long shadow over the village's interactions with outsiders, especially Americans. His experience had instilled a sense of caution in the villagers, an unspoken wariness that colored their interactions with anyone perceived as an outsider. As an American traveler approached the village one day, the villagers exchanged hushed warnings. "Be cautious," one of them advised. "Remember Carlo's bicycle." The cautionary tales of the stolen bicycle had become deeply ingrained in their culture, shaping their interactions with foreigners. In the grand tapestry of the village's history, the stolen bicycle and Carlo's heroic yet heart-wrenching journey became a vivid thread, forever woven into the fabric of their lives. It stood as a monument to the delicate interplay between fate and human determination, love and loss. In the years that followed, the memory of that fateful night remained etched in the collective memory of the village, a constant reminder of how a single event could profoundly impact the trajectory of multiple lives and color the perceptions of an entire community.
The Cyclist, by Erik Røde, 1755. Read by Sally Ronstadt.